The Testament of Dr. Mabuse, black and white crime thriller directed by Fritz Lang. The film was immediately banned in Germany on the grounds that it was subvertive and promoted the ideas of chaos and social unrest, and so the Nazi government wouldn't have any of it. The film instead premiered in Budapest and wasn't released in Germany until 1951, almost 2 decades after its production, at which time the version shown in theaters was significantly shorter. The original full film was presumed lost for several decades until another set of positives was found elsewhere, which led to a restoration effort which managed to bring the film back in almost its original form. I think the ultimate difference is no longer than a few minutes. And this restoration is the version that I now saw. The film is about a gang of criminals who commit all sorts of various crimes, robberies, murder, producing counterfeit currency, all on the behest of a mysterious leader who never reveals his face, only relays his orders through, like from behind the curtain, literally. And from early on, we only know his supposed name, Mabuse. Only problem is, Mabuse is a doctor, one famous for his methods of hypnosis, but he went mad a few years prior and is now locked in a mental institution. Surely then he can't be pulling the strings, can he? The mystery is slowly unraveling as a talented police officer, detective, gets on the case, and from the other side, we also have one of the mobsters who's got second thoughts. He met a girl he wants out, which is the second motor behind the story. Now, the first thing that hit me was how mature the storytelling was here, considering the time of the movie's release. You see, back then, most movies would still not fully trust the audience with their plots and begin with a heavy exposition dump. The story takes place at this place, this time. These are the heroes. This is the antagonist. This is the central conflict, etc. The Testament of Dr. Mabuse starts right off with a tense scene that we know almost nothing about. And for a good half hour or so, we have to really pay attention and piece together what's going on to have an understanding of the story. There really isn't a moment where a character, explains things clearly to other people in the film or to us. It's a mystery movie where part of the mystery is the actual premise that the film is built upon, and that really helps engage the audience because the film is quite gripping throughout its entire runtime. What also helps with that is that even when towards the end we finally learn the central plot twist, there's still an element of ambiguity to it that's never fully explained. See, the movie for the most part is fairly grounded, but it has elements of hypnosis and dreams and insanity in it. And we, the audience, are sort of left alone in deciding whether there is some sort of supernatural element to the story, or can it all be scientifically explained or explained as madness of the characters. I think you can walk away from the ending of the film with two different interpretations of what happened, and they both make sense and they both are quite satisfying in their own ways. The supernatural elements, so to speak, lend themselves to quite a few inventive visual techniques and used by Lang. And there are moments when you have few images superimposed on one another, some abstract stuff, things like ghosts or hallucinations, who knows really. It looks impressive for the time of the movie's release, honestly, and even to this day, those techniques look fairly convincing. I also like how the movie anchors itself on the character of the detective, who looks atypical for movies of that time, especially because he's not this handsome young guy. He's rather fat and middle-aged and has sort of a grumpiness to his character. But he's immediately likable because we can see his dedication to the work, and he's also, crucially, he's also pretty damn smart. All of the clues that he's given, he's able to immediately pick up on. So there's no magical moment at the end where he suddenly has an epiphany and all the disconnected things start to make sense. He's following the trail very logically. Each clue gets him closer to solving the mystery, and all of that has very natural and organic flow to it, which is also reflected by the film's editing, by the way, especially the sequence of the scenes from one to another. It's really quite smooth and elegant in the way it's cutting away between the different strands of the story. All in all, a very solid movie that definitely left a mark on cinema and the legacy of sorts. I've read that Joker from the Nolan Batman trilogy, and that the version played by Heath Ledger was partly inspired by the antagonist of this film, the ideas of chaos and unrest for the purpose of just chaos. chaos itself, that had an impact on the philosophy of that character, which itself, as we know, became quite iconic. So, really solid movie, worth checking out, not just by old movie buffs.